Right guys, check it out. We're back here at Toy Tech Lifts and the Land Cruiser is looking awesome. This of course is our TFLpro Land Cruiser, which is a TRD lookalike. We did the lift. We've got some big tires on there on our TRD Pro wheels, and the truck looks incredible. But we're missing, of course, the signature TRD Pro part. That, of course, is the desert air intake, or as we call it, the high altitude air intake. That means we're gonna have to start cutting holes in our precious 200 series.
Nothing but the best will do, and that's why we've taken our Land Cruiser here to Toy Tech Lifts. We really tried to get box suspension, but they just weren't able to work with us on our timeline. That is beautiful,
out
guys.
Of the weather.
Wow, it looks awesome.
What do you think?
It's really awesome. Alrighty, so here comes the scary part for us, and maybe the fun part for you.
Yeah.
What's this install gonna look like?
Well, we got to tear apart the airbox on the inside.
Okay.
And then we're gonna put a stencil on the fender. We're gonna trace it out, and then we gotta get out the big hole saw and start cutting holes in the fender.
Gotcha. So what kit do we have? What's the brand of the snorkel?
So it's an ARB Safari snorkel.
Nice. So what does the factory airbox look like? What are we working with, and what has to kind of leave here?
So we're gonna take this out.
Yep.
Because we have to take this part that feeds the air through the fender out before we cut the hole.
Okay.
And then all that'll go back in and merge to the snorkel inside the fender. So
now you said this is a snorkel. Does ARB call this a snorkel too? So it's
yes.
going to be waterproof and probably
and that's where a lot of people get confused with the snorkel. ARB advertises that you get cleaner, fresher air from up here. If you're following people on a dusty trail, you're avoiding all that. If you're actually going to go through water crossings, especially on a vehicle like this, there's a lot more waterproofing you got to do.
Gotcha.
Because there's so many electronics on this vehicle.
that. Wow, that is a massive unit. Look how much space that cleared up. That is crazy.
They definitely take up a lot of room, but that big 5.7 needs a lot of air, so.
Okay, cool. So that's the little, is that the breather tube that's currently installed?
Yeah, this is where the air comes in.
Okay.
They like to suck the air from the fender because it's the coolest spot.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. So we got kind of the old stuff off. So what's next?
We're gonna grab the stencil and start getting that lined up. And since this has got a wrap on it, we're going to cut the wrap first so that the hole saw doesn't twist the vinyl.
Nice. So is that the hole, the size of the hole you're gonna have to cut in the fender? That is incredible.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
so
cut
it's got two big round holes here already laid out. So you put your center point
there,
look
at that.
Point there.
Yep.
And then we gotta cut this out by hand.
Nice, look at that. Now for the fun part. That is crazy.
It starts to
There you go. There's
one part of it.
one part of it.
So this is a pretty cool thing Chris pointed out actually. This is a 2008 Land Cruiser. This is a 2015 Land Cruiser, and essentially they're the same era. But they're actually pretty different if you start looking at some of the fine details. So take a look at like the headlights. Our 2008 has these old school halogens, and they work, but they're nothing to be that excited about. Now, even though the design is pretty similar on this 15, you can actually see we've got projector beams up front here. And it's not only that, down here in the bumper, we actually have fog lights that are round on the 2015 versus square on our 2008. Now, the changes continue down the side actually. First of all, you'll see that this 15 has a surround view camera system. So there's cameras in the front, cameras in the mirrors. You also have turn signals in the mirrors. The 08 here has got, you know, nothing. It's old school. And in the back, different taillights as well. So slightly different design on this 2008. On the 15, you can see here we've got orange bulbs for the turn signals. So a little bit different when you compare side by side.
So the cool thing is, when you actually install a snorkel, you'll still use the factory air filter. It's just that instead of the air now coming from underneath passenger side fender, which is weird to begin with, but that's the way they do it, it'll now come from much higher. So I know Toyota calls this a desert air intake, but being at almost a mile above sea level, I like high altitude air intake. I think we're gonna go with that. So these are the 5 holes that are going to hold the snorkel in place.
6 holes, yeah.
6 holes.
And then Chris was saying there's also a plate that goes up here.
Yeah, and he said you're supposed to drill 3 little holes up there, but we're just going to use double-sided sticky tape because you don't want to really drill holes in the A-pillar. Yeah. If you drill them right, it should fit, right?
Yep, that's all I'm checking right now because I got to do some other stuff. I just wanted to make sure. Sometimes you got to trim a little bit more here. Or
did it fit?
So on. Yep, everything lines up.
That's nice. So the template really makes it easier. All right, try test fitting number 3 here. See, this is the one, the magic.
Check this out. The guys here at Toy Tech are almost done with the snorkel, or as we call it, the high altitude air intake on our Land Cruiser. And what do you think? Easier or harder than a 4Runner?
Definitely easier.
Easier, yeah?
Just bigger body, bigger fender, more room to work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But I think it came out great. I mean, it looks awesome. I think it's a lot bigger than all of us thought it would look like in person, but I'm gonna have to, you know, attach everything down and get this thing aligned, and I think we'll be pretty much done. One other thing though, you'll notice down here is our wheels didn't come with the TRD center caps, so I had to order them through Toyota, so they should be here in a few days so we can get those all attached and get this thing finalized. So this is what used to grab the air from the outside, and it would fit in somewhere here and pick up air from the inside of the fender here. That's gone. Now we've got a real big one that also looks really cool. So what does this crazy Star Wars rig do? What is essentially?
So this is our alignment rack. This is what we, it's got the moving plates and everything so we can set an alignment and actually get the tires to move as we're adjusting things to get a very accurate reading.
So how does it work? Is it using these plates in the front to essentially figure out where the alignment is?
We will actually be mounting the alignment heads on the wheels.
Okay.
And then there's lasers that come out of that machine and actually measure angles and what's going on with it as we work on it.
That's wild. So the lasers flash off these?
Flash off of those, the stuff that's on these heads essentially, and then read what angle the wheels are sitting at instead of actually going off of a physical gyroscope inside of a head anymore.
And then it will tell you, you know, I need to adjust it this far or this far. Cool. Okay, check it out, guys. The fine folk here at Toy Tech just got done with our Land Cruiser, and it looks awesome. The snorkel really sets it off, but it kind of looks like a TRD-Pro, or as we say, a TFLpro here. Now, this is actually the shop truck. This is the owner's truck. It's a 2015 Land Cruiser, and if you guys want to lift your Land Cruiser or do any of these fun off-road mods, come down here to Toy Tech here in Colorado, because they do a really awesome job, and they're clearly pretty well versed in Toyotas. Well, now it's time to take this truck outside, get it on the road, and see how it drives. If it drives anywhere near as good as it looks, I think we did right. This this thing drives like a dream. It still has that classic cushy Land Cruiser feeling, but now it just looks way cooler and is more off-road worthy. So I think we did something pretty good here. Now we'll have to take it back to our headquarters in Boulder and try it off-road, see how it works. But you know, here comes the railroad track. Yeah, barely felt it. This thing is absolutely comfortable still.
Hey guys, as you know, we're trying to take our Land Cruiser to Moab to have it run some pretty interesting trails, but there's a problem, Tommy, and I'm holding it right here. That's plastic, and what would happen is if we put these guys back on,
yeah, it would just tear them off or it would bend up into the body. So the stock steps are not what we need. We actually need sliders. Check it out. These are the Metaltech 4x4 sliders for the 200 series Land Cruiser. This is going to offer the side protection we need to get us up over those rocks.
Yeah, you know, we've been doing this series, and the guy who runs Metaltech out of Oregon actually called and emailed us, and I called him and we started talking, and he said, you know, I've got some really great rock sliders that I'd love you to feature in this episode. And we said, heck yeah, we would love to feature them because it was exactly the solution to a problem that we were looking for, and said we've got the right product for you. Now he said, you guys need a loading bay because these guys are very robust. In fact, each one of these weighs 100 pounds. So these are true rock sliders. You know what, guys? Let's take them to Devin's shop, have them mount them, and then we'll surprise you with what they look like, because I don't want to scratch the Rebel Rouser that we'll be using to bring them to Devin's. So I kind of want to be surprised and see what they look like.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's load them up. So here's the problem. Come on down here. If you look, right there, there's nothing to keep a rock from bashing this plate, which would then of course dent the door, which would then create a huge problem. There is a little bit of a frame member down here, but there's nothing down here, and so that's why we're putting on rock sliders. So you may be wondering, why aren't we attaching them ourselves? Because it's not so simple. It takes a little bit of well, specialized knowledge to do it.
It's quite difficult, is what my dad's trying to say.
Yeah, we talked to...
And we're not...
No, we talked to the Metaltech guys, and they're like, you have a good mechanic, right? And we're like, hey, we're gonna do it. And they're like, no. You want a good mechanic?
You see what they look like in the box. You've seen they're huge.
Yeah.
Let's see what they look like on the truck.
Yeah, and when we come back through the magic of Devin,
yeah,
boom.
Done.
Tommy, I am super excited to see what these Metaltech sliders look like, because I am super excited to go to Moab.
Yeah, I am too, and we need them if we don't want to damage the side of the body. So let's take a look at what they look like.
Yeah, it's been a couple days since we last did this, so let's show them.
Brilliant. So the cool thing about the Metaltech sliders is they're pretty low profile. So a lot of the slider designs you see, they're kind of big and bulky and they stick up well past the side of the body, but these are nice, and actually they act even as a little bit of a step as well. So you get a little bit of functionality, and they stick out a little bit further in the rear, so they're flared in the rear, which is good if you have like a roof rack or something. You can actually use them as steps, and I can tell you just by jumping on them, these are a heck of a lot more sturdy than the plastic things that came on the standard 200 series. Plus, you know, they're black, they match our theme. I think they did a good job. The standard TRDs actually don't have them. So we went a little bit past the standard TFLpro recipe with the sliders here, because if you look at like a 4Runner, they don't have standard rock rails. You have to go to the aftermarket, but they're an incredibly important upgrade if you want to protect your body, if you want to protect your paint, or in this case, if you want to protect the wrap, because without them, you can do thousands of dollars worth of damage by simply just taking a wrong line and clipping, you know, the rock around the rock. So now we're going to have to actually put these to the test in Moab.
Guys, thanks for watching. Remember, go back to TFLcar.com for more news, views, and what, Tommy?
Real world reviews.
Over my left shoulder are two dedicated Toyota off-roaders. The one in Voodoo Blue, well, that's the brand new TFLpro 4Runner.
This tire sucks though.
Hey Tommy, how much water do you think we can ford with this high altitude air intake?